What's up, everyone? We are here at the Collectable studio at the Mint Collective with Anthony Ranaudo. He's our first interview of the show. It's been an amazing show so far. Let's hop in. Let's talk about cards and culture. I'm so excited. And let's see what Anthony has to say.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. Let's do it. Okay, Anthony, so you go from baseball player to now shop owner. What was the drive to do that? Because it's got to be a different ball game, obviously. And just tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when my career was over, right, I got back into collecting. My dad dropped my baseball cards off, and I wanted to get back into the hobby, but I saw a little thing, things that I didn't love about it. So that's what I saw, an opportunity to be able to grow this hobby and do things uniquely, right? Include sneakers, art, and create a better experience for the fans and for the players, right? Because when I was playing and signing autographs, sometimes I didn't always enjoy going into the hobby shop. And I know when I was growing up, my experience wasn't always a positive experience, depending on, like we talked about, like hobby shops and the temperament of the owner and that kind of stuff, right? So I was like, this would be a cool opportunity for me to do this. I knew the NIL was coming, my ties with LSU and the professional sports. So I just saw it as an opportunity to grow and do something unique and different, and the shop's taken off, and it's been a lot of fun so far.
And something you enjoy too.
Definitely. This is just fun. This is something I get to do every day that I enjoy. I have a great team, and the hobby shop there is in a great location in Baton Rouge. It's fun. I can't wait for you guys to come.
Well, I was going to say, we'll have to make a trip down.
Dude, I saw you guys are making some trips. Baton Rouge has got to be on that list.
Hey, I went to England, so I can come to Louisiana.
Definitely. I feel like right. We got to do it.
Being a shop owner now, obviously there's pressures with just business in general, customers, employees, whatever it is. Compare the pressures of the MLB day in and day out to owning a shop. Does one more pressure than the other? I mean, maybe.
Yeah, it's different though, I think too. Like, right? I think it's funny because it's fun to take the lessons that I learned in baseball and apply it to business. It's not the same thing, right? But I mean, at the same time, you're managing yourself, your career, your other people's careers, that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I think that's what I say. I have a lot more fun with this. I feel like there's less pressure, right? With baseball, I felt like I had to live up to my family, the expectations, the fans, like the team, right? Like a lot of things that I felt like I wanted to perform for. For my business now, it's for the employees and the community and Baton Rouge too for me, because like I said, I played baseball at LSU, and I felt like I could have done a better job just integrating myself in the community and that kind of stuff. So that's the fun part of it for me. It's just a lot more enjoyable than actually playing.
Very cool.
Now Baton Rouge, big football town, big baseball town, somewhat basketball. Shout out Shaq.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons.
Pete Maravich too.
Pete Maravich, yeah.
Pete Maravich. That's our guy.
Would you say, with your specific baseball background and everything, is baseball the driving force behind the shop for cards, or is there, and being a big baseball town, South is a big baseball quadrant, right? Yeah. Is it big on baseball, or is there a ton of other, basketball, football, that type of stuff?
What's funny is I think the baseball knowledge and the people knowing because Baton Rouge, and it might sound arrogant for a split second, but just like you said, it's a huge baseball town. We don't have a pros team there. So we won the national championship, and my team was the last team to win it. So people still recognize the name. Like, little drop right there. A little humble brag, that's it, yeah. Just had to drop that in really quick. But I think that's what drives people in the shop, right? They have a conversation. I like to talk to people about stuff and just open up. I'm not very, shy about my career. I like to self-deprecate too. Like, people enjoy that. But I think honestly what drives people is like literally buying Joe Burrow cards, LSU players, like the football players are what drive the kids in. Like, I see 7 to 14 is a huge thing, and they all come for football cards. It's Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow. Now, obviously they're hot right now, 2019, so I'm kind of hoping some more stuff happens like that, right? And I know that that's capturing a moment, but it's still the big driver, I think, of a lot of the foot traffic.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff. So, obviously with playing at LSU, you've made a lot of connections. Okay, there's a lot of players that came through whatever sport it is, baseball with you, basketball, football. How much does you, not in a bad way, but leveraging your connections, how much does it help the shop out? Because so much of the shops, is throwing events, I feel like, and getting ingrained with the community. When you can bring in those athletes, I don't know, what your highest profile athlete might have been so far. Maybe you can share that. But how does it affect the shop and really bringing people in? An event for the Baton Rouge community that has someone maybe like Bregman coming or anything like that would be massive. Like, that's really big.
And that's the cool part is And the NIL, it was perfect timing too. Like July 1 was when I opened my doors at Cards and Culture, and it was the same day that NIL was passed, so I could start paying athletes to do these appearances and stuff. So having that connection to athletes has been huge. Shaq's definitely been the biggest athlete that came in there, took a picture, but that was just kind of like by chance. Sharif, his son, lived upstairs, and he was visiting him. And they mixed up their plans. Sharif wasn't in town, so he needed a place to kill time, and he just kind of hung out down at the shop, which was super cool. Yeah, played it off that his car was broken down, but really he mixed up the plans.
Was it weird being shorter than him?
Oh, dude, it was so weird. Yeah, it was like I kind of like tried to angle myself in a picture, you know, so that I didn't look too small. No, it was actually really cool. It was a fun moment, and he's a character too.
You know, every single time,
experienced a little bit of my life.
Every single time him and I take a picture together, he stands on his freaking tippy toes to try to gain a couple extra inches on me. It's so funny.
I do.
You just gotta just angle a little
standing
bit.
like 5 feet in front of him.
That's what you got to do. That's what I did to Shaq. I just kind of angled my shoulder a little bit, stood up a little bit, and actually it was like, oh, I don't look that small, but I was like, I felt small. Yeah.
Right.
It was different.
So when you do signings, is it a lot of people are coming in to like meet the athletes to get stuff signed? Like, what is a lot of the customers and the community's goal when they come to your shop for something like that?
And that's kind of like what I like to pride myself on, is that we're innovating and doing different stuff. So it just kind of depends on the athlete and what they want. So I kind of wanted to do something different rather than where the hobby shop or the owner is like, hey, can you just come and sign autographs, take the pictures, and then leave? I try to leave it up to them. If they want to do more art stuff, if they want to do maybe some video game stuff, a lot of the athletes do want to take the money, right, and sign the autographs and do that. So I've had that stuff. But for the women's basketball one, for example, like we had a live artist painting, and a lot of young girls just wanted to come take pictures with the girls and do dances and TikToks and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, this is cool. It's getting a different demographic in there, and like expanding the hobby a little bit in a unique way. So it was fun.
Yeah, love that.
Got you. All right, so much of sports cards is online today. Shop in the past, like back in the 90s, was big to start, back in the late 80s and everything. And now there's that period in the early 2000s, middle 2000s, where they started to die off. Now they're back in a big way. You have one. How much of your business, I guess, sales-wise or anything, you don't have to give us numbers, whatever, but just like online versus in person, do you try to attack both? Do you focus more in person? Because, obviously you have an online presence as it is with just your following, but let's just hear some of that.
Yeah, I do. It's pretty crazy. I have a business partner, like he was a business mentor for 2 or 3 years for me, and he came in as an investor. When I showed him the first 3 months of numbers, he was so just taken back by sports cards and how much we do at retail, So it's cool to see the retail numbers, but we do good numbers online too. So it's actually probably 60-40, almost 50-50, honestly. I think over time online sales will grow as we grow, and just expand in the hobby. And that's kind of the plan. And we want to, like I said, we do other things too with like apparel with the athletes, where we create memorabilia for them and things like that, where we make other online sales. So that kind of helps pay some of the bills too.
Yeah, so are you talking like website mostly, leveraging marketplaces? Like what's the deal with the online?
Yeah,
maybe people want to hear that because they might want to help support you.
Absolutely. No, thank you. And I appreciate the opportunity. Yeah, I know you guys have a lot of listeners. So cardsandculture.com is like our e-commerce site, and we have everything there. So everything we sell on eBay, on Loop, whatnot, we sell there too. So, and we are breaking on Loop and whatnot and everything now. We just started doing that the last month or so. I have a card specialist at the shop that loves doing it. And, it's hard to do at night and everything. It's hard to ask people to go, and if I'm running around all day and then to do breaks at night, it's kind of tough to get that consistent schedule. But we're on a bunch of different platforms, but a lot from our e-commerce site, cardsandculture.com.
Very cool.
Have you noticed a hot product on Whatnot, or is it kind of a testing period for you?
Still a testing period, yeah. Actually, we have not. We did just a test run with Whatnot. We've been on Loop for about 2 or 3 weeks. A lot of people ask for slabs, but it's just been honestly just the wax, just breaking in boxes and stuff like that. And honestly, it's like we have consistent people coming in. We just talk sports and like sports betting and baseball, and people ask me stories about the game while I'm breaking the cards. So it's kind of cool. It's a smaller room, but it kind of makes it feel like homey every day. I get the same couple of people. It's cool.
It's good. I mean, we experience the same exact thing a lot of the time. Nate's got a lot of repeat customers, and I do too. And it's just really fun to get to know those guys and girls, because those are the people that do support you through all this time and even make stuff like this possible. Nate and I wouldn't be sitting here with so many people out there helping us.
Yeah, and the nice thing for you is that, say you're ripping baseball, some of these guys you're running across, you will have pitched against, and you can share little stories about it that other people can't. I cannot do that. I have no stories about facing Chris Bryant or something like that,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Bum,
So-
absolute bum.
Nah, trash.
You probably have stories, but it's just not in a different way, just more in life. But it's cool. I think that's what people like. It's just a unique way to break cards. A lot of people, it's the same product, the same things, a lot of different sites and stuff like that. So that's what I bring to the table. And if people want to ask questions about that, that's the fun part for me. I get to open up and tell stories and just relay my experiences. Yeah.
Love that.
Very cool.
Yeah, man.
Hey, tell us, this is something I'm always curious about. Past player, current MLB players, whoever it is, do you talk to these players about baseball cards? Man, I gotta know, or you tell them, hey, you guys should get in on the first Bowman Chrome action or anything like that?
What's funny is I've never talked to any of the baseball guys. I've talked to them about other cards. So Bregman actually was close to investing into cards and culture because he's so into cards.
I remember he was super into it a couple years ago.
Yeah. And he's real tight with the pull wax guys, and he used to break all the time. And so I actually have all his cards at my shop and everything. And it was, like I said, he just kind of took a different turn in business. But I do talk to guys about collecting, but I think it's weird for certain baseball players to collect baseball players. You're in the locker room with them, you're competing. And that's kind of what took me out of it, was like once I started getting paid for the cards that I used to collect, it was like, oh, there's other guys that, in the locker room, this is, it just was a different concept. But the basketball and football side of it, I think a lot of guys got into it, and a lot of the baseball players were ripping a lot of packs in 2020, like a bunch of boxes.
Well, yeah, I mean.
So you never went up to Chris Bryant or Josh Donaldson, anybody like that, and said, hey, I'm into cards too?
Well, I wasn't back in when I was playing, but we did do stuff with Chris Bryant. I have a bunch of his cards. So at the National, actually, I don't know if it was after I met with you guys or not, but he got traded when we were in Chicago.
Yes, I remember
that.
So funny story, my best friend is his marketing agent. So
Okay.
he's like, hey dude, Chris is like all into cards. He's really superstitious. He breaks cards and he hits home runs like it's our thing. Like it's like a joke. He just got traded. He can't go to the card shop. Do you have any boxes? And I'm like, dude, I'm at the National. I'm trying to sell this stuff. Like I'll bring everything over to him and just see what he wants. Dude, I laid out everything. He took it all. He took everything with him on the plane. And then he gave me all his cards that he'd been breaking all year and was like, hey, can you just hold on to these? I'm moving out of Chicago. And so I have all his cards at my shop. Just what he did. We're just waiting. He's negotiating with some grading companies to talk about how he's going to get them graded.
So here, a question for you.
Yeah.
Cards and Culture 2.0, Colorado, in Denver.
I'm in.
I mean, Chris Bryant just signed a 7-year, $168 million deal, so he could be your only customer and you would make it.
As long as he hits a lot of home runs. The ball flies there too.
Yeah.
We could definitely convince him that it's definitely because of the boxes. Yeah, exactly. I know. That's probably the only reason that I would think that he would go there.
Did you hate pitching there?
Yeah, it was terrible. Actually, I never pitched. I got called up to play at Denver, but I never actually got in a game, and then I got sent down before I got to pitch in the game there. But I pitched in AAA there.
Did you have to pitch in Colorado Springs?
Yeah, that's what it was. But I never gave up a home run there. It was good. It was because it was always cold, and I just went right at guys and threw right at their hands. Yeah.
One of the probably the few pitchers that's pitched there that can say that.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys, am I just dumb? Did Chris Bryant, did he play at LSU?
No. He's just a big name baseball.
I never knew that Chris Bryant collected cards, which is why you brought that up. I know Josh Donaldson did, but I never knew that.
Yeah, he's kind of low key about it. He did some stuff with Topps and when that kind of stuff, right?
What I know
from Nevada. Because
From
he knows,
Las Vegas.
Because Bryce Harper, right?
Yep, they all played together. Him, Joey Gallo, and Bryce Harper all played with him. Can you imagine that?
No,
the Little League team?
It's very crazy.
He went to San Diego University. San Diego. Yeah, and actually, funny story. His college hitting coach, they're like this, just took the head coaching job at LSU.
Whoa.
Yeah, so that's cool.
Really?
So I got to meet him, Jay Johnson. Yeah, really great guy. So a lot of baseball ties in Baton Rouge.
Awesome.
Sweet.
So I know that you're planning on doing a pretty cool card show in Baton Rouge at some point here. It's supposed to be soon, but then it got delayed a little bit. Pete Maravich Center, that's the basketball arena and stuff?
Yeah, it's a basketball arena.
Inside of there?
Yep.
So what's the plan? Let's hear it.
Yeah. So I kind of want to model it like this, where there's panel talks and things like that. Obviously, it won't be as big as this, but eventually I would like to get it to that point. But I want to utilize the jumbotron and just utilize things that are unique to the area, right? So maybe we could do streaming and put it on the jumbotron and have streaming lounges and stuff like that. We're gonna have panel talks. We're gonna have autograph stuff. We're also gonna have an artist alley too, where artists can come in and do live paintings and stuff like that. Drop off sports art, that kind of stuff. And I would kind of like the way that Topps did Project 70, blend the art and cards together. So all kinds of collectibles. It'll be a lot of fun, I think.
And when do we think that might happen?
So I just got to get with LSU. They're super weird about the fall with football season, understandable.
Yes.
And it might make sense to do it more around baseball season with some of my MLB guys, things like that, and I can have a better experience. That's kind of the thing too. I want to have like video game appearances, for guys to play with kids.
That's really cool.
And just do different things that are just unique to us a little bit.
Yeah, awesome. You personally collecting when you were a kid, what was the thing? What was the chase?
So I was a Yankee fan growing up. So I was a Derek Jeter fan. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. So I was all Yankees all the time. Like I was always collecting, but it was so weird. I got into Nolan Ryan. Like I just started collecting Nolan Ryan cards because I thought he was the coolest pitcher ever. So Nolan Ryan, Ken Griffey Jr., Derek Jeter were my PC. And then when LeBron was on the cover, it was like all LeBron. So I went hard into basketball, and his tops, 03 tops with the white jersey with David Stern is like my all-time #1 Grail card. I don't know why. It's just like my favorite card ever.
Yeah.
So I have that in a 10. It's in Cards and Culture, and I'll never sell it probably. Like,
I love that.
So that's kind of my. And then Pokemon too. Pokemon was like my big thing when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Big thing.
Did you keep your cards, or your parents keep your cards that you had as a kid, and go back through them and find LeBrons from 03, 04,
Yep.
stuff?
None of the good LeBrons though. Like, yeah, I know. I had 2 good like 03 like basic ones. Like it was a Bowman, I think, and then something else. But it was all my baseball cards, and that's what actually got me back into the hobby in 2017-18. My dad sold my childhood house growing up, and he was like, "Hey, dude, I'm coming to drop all your cards off. You just gotta take them. I've been holding on to them forever. Blah blah blah." No Pokemon cards, which I was heartbroken about. But it was all like Derek Jeter, all Ken Griffey Jr.
Not
really
bad.
cool
That's
cards.
not bad at all.
Yeah, it was really cool cards, and I got a lot of them graded and stuff, so that was really cool to see. And they were all like 8.5s, 9s, which was even cooler.
That's nice.
Preserved it. Yeah,
Childhood cards?
yeah.
Very nice.
Yep.
Very
No,
nice.
it was cool. Yeah, it was fun.
This kid, I remember one of our first memories when we were young was, I think you had like a blue border Derek Thomas in your bike spokes. I don't remember why. That thing was just ripped to shreds.
So you guys grew up together?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, right across the street.
Yeah, he's right across the street. My entire life I've known him, and for every year but 3 years, 4 years? Just about 4 years, of his life. He know me now, so yeah.
That's so cool. How old are you guys?
27 and
23.
Nice, okay. That's good stuff.
No,
I love that.
it's
So you
very-
guys were collecting like as kids, like
Oh yeah.
neighborhood stuff, and you were
asking who sold his first.
Yeah,
his first
I went to his garage sale, and he'd have a
Nice.
garage sale. Him and his brothers are set up. They got Packer cards out there,
and that's what got you into it?
yeah. And then
that's
once
awesome.
I moved to Minnesota when I was 10. And my brother and I go to Target.
Yeah.
And we just moved to Minnesota from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Brett Favre's our guy.
Yeah.
And the only football product there was 2008 Topps football, and Brett Favre's on the cover of the box.
Yeah.
So we gotta buy this. We buy it. We start ripping them. I set up an eBay account right away, and I sold like a Troy Polamalu Pro Bowl jersey card for like $20.
Let's go.
Pull a Matt Ryan, no helmet short print. There's only like one on eBay right now. These things are rare. I got to get one back in my collection. But that
Those
was
were the first ones? Like,
yeah.
oh my
And
God, that's
that
so
was the card that told me, like, dude, these things have value. Because
Yeah.
I bought a Beckett manual way back when. And I bring it to school, and I found out that the Matt Ryan was worth like $30 book value.
Yeah.
So I go to a card show in Minnesota, and I trade it probably for like some Kobe's and Shaq's and stuff. I still have my Kobe 96 Topps rookie from that show.
Nice.
And then I'm like, this is it, I'm in. And I was like 10, 12 years old at that point. And now, ever since then, I've been doing it. So.
Dude, I'm so jealous though, because like I just missed that eBay era, right? So I didn't have that ability to go sell that and get the liquidity right away and have that same moment, right? Like mine was I had to ride around the block, and like go trade it with somebody and hope that he had the cards that I wanted.
Yeah, because when I was young and in like middle school and high school, like dude, like no one collected cards. I was literally the only person. So I had to go the online route, the eBay out. So like I no other option. Other than my brother who he is in it, not really into it, just like did it with me, that probably support me and stuff. But it's a great time. I am also curious because like, we run into this situation too. Business versus personal, collecting. There's so many different ways to look at cards when you do own a business versus just like, my PC is this. Mine is Mason Mount. I've got a ton of Mason Mount. I got some Giannis. But for you, like, other than the shop and what you buy for the shop to stick in the shop, like, what is it that you're like kind of collecting or looking after just for yourself?
Yeah, I love Ja. I've been saying it since 1920 when we were all ripping everything. I was like, this is cool to chase Zion and everything, but I'm holding all my Jaws. And when his prices went, or when the market cooled off a little bit and everything, I was scooping every kind of Jaw. So I have a lot of different variations of Jaws, rookies, RPAs, on-card autos, things like that I just love.
That's a good spot to be.
One of my first breaks ever too was 19 optic choice. No, just 19 optic. And I pulled they broke a on-card Ja.
Oh.
Got it graded, got a 10 too.
Dude, you still have it?
Yeah, I still got it. Yeah, it's in my vault.
Have you sold any, Joe?
Yeah, I sold a few. I sold 2 RPAs. I was just like, the market was so hot like 2 months ago. It was like, there was a kid working at my shop and he was like, dude, we have to sell this, right? Like at this point, I was like, yeah, it's probably time to take a little bit of profit.
Do you know what set?
Yeah.
Do you know what set it was from?
It was, Crown Royal. It was actually another one that I actually broke from Bullpen LA actually, on theirs, and it was one of my first breaks as well. I was like, dude, I was chasing Zion, but I got the jaw, and I was like, I don't care. Like that's what I wanted anyway. So
that's awesome.
Yep.
That's the type of thing. It's like beginner's luck. I feel like it's with everything. The first time I came to Vegas in October, hit it big.
Yep.
Come here the first night, lose a lot.
Yeah. That's the way they just suck you in. That's the same thing with sports gambling, everything. But I was like, that's exactly what happened with my breaks. Is I was so hot, and then I was like, man, seems like I'm spending a lot. Like I'm spending a lot on this stuff, and I was like, maybe I should make this a business. This would be fun to, make it a business and not spend all my money.
Yeah.
It is nice. It is nice to get to do what you love. And
Yes.
get paid for it instead of paying for it.
Yes, exactly.
Very cool.
Yeah.
As the shop itself, like, would you say most of your like shop investments, like obviously you're turning the wax pretty fast in the shop, you're maybe turning some singles, but like stuff that like you're saying, you're displaying, you're holding for some time. Is it any high-end sealed boxes, high-end slabs, or is it mostly like the art, the high-end video games, or like shoes or whatever else?
It's more the latter.
Yeah.
But lately we've gotten really into vintage stuff, so I'm really just looking to complete a few vintage sets, like 61. Sorry for the non-Yankee fans here, but I want to finish 61 tops, all the Yankees. I want to get all the Yankees, and then I want to finish the 61 Fleer set, like the whole set, because there's some really, really cool inserts in there that are pretty valuable, and that's what I kind of just want to do every year with a couple people at the shop. I just want to like set goals of different sets or collections that we want to add to throughout the year. So every time we go to a show, we kind of have a goal when we go in there,
Very cool. I love that. Yeah. I love that. It's no secret if you log onto your Instagram page, Cards and Culture, like you have this business too that isn't even buying and selling sports cards, but it's what we know is content. And that's what I like about you guys is there's a lot of shops that will post what people pull in the shop, or just it's very basic stuff like that.
Yep.
No slight of Brute Time. I love the Brute Time guys. But you clearly are focusing on the overall market and trying to grow with it. How much of your personal focus are you putting there? Because obviously you can't do everything in a Magic Shop. That's impossible. But you personally, are you putting more into content?
I think so. I think more just storytelling too. And as I get older, the thing that, like you said, like the thing that I love doing is finding value in something. Why do you like this card? You know what I'm saying? And then telling the story of like, this is why it's valued at this price, and even if it's things that are valuable to me, Baton Rouge, the region, whatever it is. So that's the part of content that I like, even art, right? I love interviewing the artist and understanding the inspiration behind it, that kind of stuff. So for me, it's the storytelling, and that's what creates value. So that's what we're focusing on in the shop, and I think that's what's long lasting in the hobby. There's going to be ebbs and flows in the cards, the shoes, all the different collectibles, but as long as you're kind of telling the story and you're creating the value that way, that's kind of what we want to get known as or do with Cards and Culture. So that's cool. Kind of how I connected with you guys is, kind of got me into that, back into the hobby. It was like, oh, there's people that do this stuff. I love this. Like, this is cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's really good to hear.
Yeah, you guys inspired me to do content, so that's really cool.
Well, that's awesome to hear even more so. Yeah. Thank you.
Your favorite content piece so far, if you can pick one.
That I've done?
Yeah.
It was actually a recent one. It was I started doing this thing called like a weekly collectible where we have our camera set up for the podcast anyway. So I told the girls that are my production people, I was like, I just want to start picking a collectible in the shop and talking about it. And so last week I did this card that was, it's just a 93 Donruss Diamond Kings Ken Griffey Jr. It's a cool card. He's like putting some pine tar on his bat. But it was sitting in a screw case in my dad's desk my whole life, and he was like, "Don't touch that," And so I thought it was the most valuable card ever. And then he gave it to me when he gave the set, and I was like, "Oh!" And I looked it up; it's like $12, like something like that. But to me, I wound up getting it graded, and it got back a 8.5 or a 9 or something like that. So I was like, "Oh, this will be a cool Father's Day gift." And so I kind of told that story, and it came out really cool. And so I sent it to my dad, and I'm going to give him that for Father's Day. So that was cool. Yeah, that was cool.
Very awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great question, man. I like that.
Yeah.
Very curious. Kids, you were talking about video games in the shop, playing video games in there.
Yeah.
What's the number one game they're looking for?
Dude, everybody wants to play 2K. I don't know. It's like, and it's a big challenge thing too. Like people come in. I have a PS5 just set up in the middle, and so kids come in. Their first thing they say is, "That for sale?" And I'm like, "No." And And like, why? How much you want to offer? Like, no, I want to play. And I'm like, all right. So then they just start playing, or I let them play, or that kind of stuff, where they get their friends and hang out and that kind of stuff. So 2K is the big one. I don't know. There's a lot of trash talking that goes involved with that.
Gotta start having little tournaments for the kids.
Pack winnings.
Gets a pack.
Yeah,
That's what I want. That's what I'm telling you. I think, there's so many kids that come in that do both that would love that stuff. So that's what I want to do.
Is there like a, I have no idea about the Baton Rouge community, how it's set up. Is there a lot of like schools around there where kids just come in after school or come in on the weekends or anything?
Yeah, that's what. So Saturdays and Sundays have become my favorite days, and I get there early, open up the shop, and I just spend 6 hours there because a ton of kids come in, and it's like, I think word of mouth is coming now too, which is really cool to see. Is like, kids are actually going to school, trading them, talking about them, coming in.
Very
so
cool.
I'm buying a lot of the cards that they like and that kind of stuff. And it's fun. It's a bunch of kids coming in talking about it.
That's awesome. Thank you for doing that, by the way.
Yeah,
Very
It's
cool.
gonna fast forward 20 years, and there's gonna be a bunch of 25-year-old, 28-year-old kids that are still buying cards because you got them into it.
I hope
Right
so,
here,
man.
right
I
here.
hope so. And I think about it, like, I don't know about you guys, but Saturday mornings, my card story is my dad would take me to a hobby shop almost every Saturday morning. He had a boat for a couple of years, and it was like, before we went to the boat, we would always stop at this place that was right next to the bait shop, and he would just give me like $20, and I would go, pick a pack, pick a card, that kind of stuff. And it's just like, those are my memories. So like, to see that happen again in 20-something years later in my shop, I'm like, when kids come in there, I'm like, I try to teach them deals, like how to bargain, negotiate, ask questions, look up comps, all of that stuff.
That's
'Cause I
good.
think
You
it's
guys
just
sound
really cool.
really
Yeah.
It's crazy about how all this has changed. When I was a kid, none of that was out there. I started to learn myself and just read things online and pick things up. There's no one like specifically out there to say like, this is valued at this.
Yep.
And now there's a kid that's been traveling with us to different shows every once in a while in the Chicago, Milwaukee area.
Yeah.
His name's Oscar. A lot of people know him on our YouTube channel. And this kid is just like 11 years old and knows so much. He will literally just like send me a DM on Instagram and say like, dude, I'm gonna buy this, the comp's this. It's just like it's crazy. It's like sounds like it's me talking like 20 years old, not at like 11. It's nuts. It's so cool to see how many kids actually like picking this up and running with it, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And I love that you're training the kids, because when I was a kid, there were certain shops you could walk into, and depending on who you got on that day, he was either like really nice to you. Prices in Milwaukee, now Brewtown, they sold to Brewtown. There was one guy there that if you got a ticket in a repack, you could get a card out of the like envelopes, and then you pull the card out of the envelope and you guess the price. And if you get within like $10, you got to keep the card.
That's cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like that a lot.
It was a great thing, and like I won a Kurt Warner jersey card. I thought it was like the greatest thing in the history of the world. This was like 2002. He just won the Super Bowl. Amazing. And there'd be times where you get a ticket, you get the nice guy. I'd be like, I don't know, 10. He's like 15,
Yeah, right? Yes.
20.
Yep.
There you go, and he gives it to me. And then you get the other guy, and it's like, how much is this card? 52. Nope. And then take it.
It's over. Your
And so it's like
experience is crap.
giving that experience to me as a kid from the one guy, and then you also giving these experiences to kids and teaching them instead of being like, from the old guy, going to keep them in really long run.
For sure.
And that's kind of what I mean, it's important to me is like, I always say I'm innovating in the space is, that was my experience as a kid too. There was a hobby shop that I knew I didn't go to in my hometown because I was like, the dude is in the back corner, it almost made you feel like you were bothering him being in there, And I was like, if I have a hobby shop, I don't want that. So all the girls in the shop know the same thing, right? They want to make the customer experience better. So that's kind of our goal and what we're going for there.
Awesome. So new shop, you gotta always think about how do we get people in. That's such an important thing.
Yeah.
Is it online marketing in the area, which would make sense? Why would you really online marketing like California? Is it that? Is it just like word of mouth? Like what do you see successful? I suppose. And once I guess you get to a certain point, it is a lot of word of mouth. I'm sure at some point.
Yeah, that's definitely right now we get a lot of word of mouth, or at least a lot of kids, right? That's because they're not always on social media getting the ads and stuff like that, like the 7 or 8 year olds. But we partnered with LSU Sports too, so we're corporate sponsors with them, so that's really cool.
Let's go.
So we get a lot of publicity from that. I have an outfield sign at the LSU baseball stadium.
That's so cool, man. That's awesome.
And then some other ways, just like little things like that. We do a lot of marketing stuff, but and then the NIL stuff has really, really helped. So partnering with college athletes and just having them in the shops, doing podcasts, creating clothing and memorabilia, apparel and stuff like that for them has been a lot of fun.
Do they share a lot to Instagram then and social media and stuff? Talk about your shop and point people there.
Exactly.
Very cool, man.
That's kind of the move. Yeah.
So I have a question here, real quick.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have a connection to LSU. there's not a lot of card shops out there that will have a connection to a college where, it might be a little bit easier for you to get connected to these guys. But can you walk us through how you get connected to a place like LSU? Because I know you went there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you still know a bunch of people there. And there might be a card shop in, I don't know, Nevada, in Las Vegas that wants to get UNLV players, but they don't know how to go about it.
Yep.
Can you share a little bit of that process?
Dude, that's a great question.
Very good. It's better than my questions.
I love that. No, that's awesome. You're right, because I have an advantage, but still, I still do things through the university. So there's still ways, right? Like I've met 3 or 4 new contacts just by networking and things like that. So LSU set it up where they made it real easy for small businesses to have opportunities to meet athletes where they had networking opportunities. So I would say if you're a shop owner, I would say send some emails to the compliance office and things like that. Most universities, big universities, are setting up these types of situations where they want small businesses to be involved, right? Because it's a good recruiting pitch. If you can tell a kid, hey, look, when you come on campus, this spot over here is going to pay you X amount of dollars. You can sign autographs. You can have fan meetings, blah, blah, blah. So a lot of the universities are opening those doors. So it's just finding the right people, networking on LinkedIn, that kind of stuff, and just reaching out. And any connections that you have with any athletes, just kind of leverage them and just ask questions and try to add value to the athlete too, not just kind of like ask things for the shop, that kind of stuff. So,
I think that what you've built is such a good idea because not every town has a college,
right,
or at least a big one that can execute stuff like this. But getting to pro teams is so difficult for so many people because you have the huge agent block there.
Yeah.
That agents are going to demand so much money for these pro players to go in and do visits, do autograph signings, whatever it is. But if you can get in a place where, especially Baton Rouge, where LSU is the thing, you're going to get so many people who just want to come support you because all these LSU players are coming or they know you're connected. And I feel like, I'm just thinking for myself, I went to Madison, Wisconsin, and there's a card shop there stuck in a corner. It's called Jim's Card Corner. But no one, it's known by people who are diehard collectors, but they're not, I know, at least as of now, they're not doing anything get out there with the Badger Athletics program. And I'm just spinning my head man, I bet you I could get something going really cool with those guys, because there's so many good athletes, especially the women's hockey team. The women's hockey team is dominant up there, and there's so many cool things to do.
And volleyball.
And women's volleyball is dominant. We got some really good women's athletics.
And then, and what I've learned too is the women's sports are actually better engaging, especially social media, right? They're at where you can create different opportunities for them to come in your shop, and then people just hear about it through them and that kind of stuff. It'll be, and I think athletes are looking for that kind of stuff. They just need places to do it, and they want to do it in an atmosphere that kind of caters to them and makes them feel comfortable and aligns with their brand.
And you have the opportunity. You said it earlier. You get young girls coming in when the female athletes come in, right?
Yeah.
You'll get young girls that look up to these female athletes. You get them coming into a hobby shop.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. I worked at a hobby shop for about 5 months. I could probably count on one hand the amount of girls I saw walk in by themselves.
Yep.
There was times where they'd walk in with their dad, get a pack of Pokemon, something like that.
Right.
But for the most part, and so this isn't just a guys only hobby.
Right.
No, it would be amazing if more women enjoyed this hobby because it's fun. It's a good way to make money. It's a good way to connect to players that you don't normally get to connect to, and a good way to experience. For me, minor league baseball. I don't get to watch minor league baseball, but I buy Bowman Prospects. I'll follow along with their box scores every single night.
Exactly.
I love it. Yep. It's amazing. And you get little girls in the shop, and even if it's just for the athletes, maybe 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20 sees some cards that says, I love baseball.
Right.
Get in on that. So it's a nice thing, and I think it's a good thing to push.
Here's the thing: the biggest challenge with that, and why there isn't a more, bigger female representation in the hobby today, is because there's no real easy access for them when I was growing up. Unless your dad was a diehard collector and brought you to all this stuff, so you have that connection with your dad.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't happen.
No, that's a great
Your friends
point.
weren't collecting or anything like that.
Yep.
Now for you bring them in. They see the athletes, they start learning it young. They have their friends doing it. That's going to build this network so much bigger and build just a demographic bigger, which I think we all want, which would be really great. So that's a great point, Nate. I love that.
And I think it's too is right. We like to chase profits and the big boxes and the sexy stuff, but Prism WNBA is $200 a pop, and we had some great engagement. I broke it with 3 LSU basketball girls. They knew who every girl was, and I knew probably 15 different girls' names, and it was fun to engage and be like, is that girl good still? And it was cool content. It was just something different, right? And then they're going to tell their fans, and then those girls are going to watch it, and they're just being oh, I didn't even know girls were on basketball cards, and it just at least opens up their minds to possibilities and just different things that haven't been seen in the hobby before.
Not to mention, I mean, the U.S. women's national team for soccer is so big. I'd say, like, yes, Prism WNBA is really nice. I'm so happy that came out now because it does give them a way to connect. But there's some really high-end women's.
I was just going to say, it's probably really expensive.
Like, there is immaculate Alex Morgan dual patch autos at 13 jersey number that go for $3K, and I want one really badly.
Yeah.
And, like, another thing is that I feel like that Panini will do this around the World Cup time for women's athletes. A lot of the times they're inserting their cards into the predominantly male products. So it's not like they have their standalone release yet, like Prism WNBA, but I think it's going there. I'm sure we'll get a U.S. women's national team product soon enough here.
Yeah, they fight for enough. They're gonna
get it. They're for sure gonna get it.
Would you, Anthony? Would you like to join me in harassing Aaron for 2 seconds?
Yes, I would.
What is this?
So he brings up Alex Morgan, despite the fact that he went to Wisconsin.
Oh no.
Rose Lavelle went to Wisconsin.
I know where Rose Lavelle is.
And he doesn't bring up Rose Lavelle's name and rep Wisconsin.
Hey,
would you ever do that to an LSU player?
No, I would always have my LSU people's back. Yeah.
Here's my question: Is Rose Lavelle is her card selling for $3,000? I don't think so. I love the good Wisconsin connection, but come on. I'm just
a lot of history with Alex. Yeah. Too.
Exactly. All right. Well, hey, to round this out, Anthony, let us all know, the audience, whatever. What's the most important thing that you wanted to accomplish moving forward in sports cards and the hobby?
Innovation and inclusion, I think. I think there's so many ways that some people feel like they're either priced out or they don't belong or it's not cool or it's whatever, right? Or whatever stories. And so to me, I think trying to include a lot of different groups and communities into this space and figure out ways for everybody to be involved is something that I'm passionate about, and just creating a good vibe and a welcoming atmosphere, right? Because there's a lot of times, like I said, that in my childhood I had negative experiences going into some hobby shops. So for me, just making sure that it's a comfortable experience for everybody and a fun experience and a learning experience for everybody. So yeah, that's kind of it.
Awesome. Nate, you got anything else?
Yeah, one last question.
All right.
Fun question.
Good. Yeah, I can tell. I saw it on your face. I knew it.
Big fun.
I like it.
Big fun guy over here.
I like it.
Les Miles.
Yeah.
I'm sure you like him. I do not. Kansas coach.
Right.
Jamar Chase committed to Kansas.
I didn't know that.
5-star recruit, highest recruit we ever got, commits to Kansas. Les Miles tells him that he doesn't view him as a wide receiver. He decommits and goes to LSU.
I didn't know that.
So does your opinion of Les Miles change with this story?
A little bit, but I've also heard some crazy stuff about Les. The stories that I've heard about Les are absolutely insane. He's a character, and some of the things that have come out of his mouth are just absolutely crazy.
I don't know, Jamar Chase, one of the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL, is not a wide receiver in college.
And then doesn't go. Yeah. But hey, I can't complain as an LSU fan. He came there, helped us win a national championship. Yeah. So
I mean, I haven't seen a national championship for the Badgers, so I knew he's never going to see one for Kansas.
Yeah.
Well, not if you can't keep your single 5-star recruit you ever got in the history of football.
That's true.
Very true. All right, Anthony. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining us. Tell everyone where they can check you out or you and your shop, Cards and Culture.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm Anthony Ranaudo, ANTHONY_Ranaudo, RANAUDO. And then everything is just at Cards and Culture, spelled out, and cardsandculture.com. Thank you. I appreciate the time. Thank you guys.
Absolutely.
This is awesome.
Thank you everyone for watching here at the Mint Collective at the Collectable Studio. It's been a very fun time for the first few hours here. Thanks to Anthony and thanks to, I guess, Nate for Kansas beating Providence. That's why he's happy. But
yes. Good vibes. Thank God. The interview was good because of that.
Good vibes. Everyone be sure to check out the rest of our content here at the Mint Collective, and we hope you all have a great rest of your week.